Good morning, Stewart's Chapel. Brother Don Pierson and Don Counts here, and this is Friday's devotion. We're looking at individuals that were called to finish. Individuals like you and I who are called to finish. Several scriptures today. We're looking at a man named Mark, and yes, the Gospel of Mark bears his name, but we're not going to the Gospel of Mark. We're going to be in Acts chapter 13, Acts chapter 15, and then in 2 Timothy chapter 4. In Acts chapter 13, verse 13 and 14, we hear these words. Now when Paul and his party set sail from Paphos, they came to Perga in Pamphylia, and John, known as Mark, went with them. Departing from them, went and returned to Jerusalem. He went with them, and then he left them and went to Jerusalem. And then chapter 15, verse 37 and 40. Now Barnabas was determined to take with them John, called Mark. 2 chapters later, Mark has had a change of heart and wants to go again, and Barnabas wants to take him. But Paul insisted that they would not take with them the one who had left them. And so there was a contention or strife between Paul and Barnabas, so much that Barnabas took Mark and sailed, and Paul took Silas. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. Paul is finishing up his letter to Timothy, and he says, "Only Luke is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you to me, for he is useful to me in ministry." Well, there's a lot of more scripture that you can read in your devotion about John Mark and who he was. And the truth is, we don't know why he left them, but whatever reason, Paul felt that he had taken his hand off the plow. John had a change of heart. Barnabas, the encourager, saw hope in Mark. But what happens is Paul and Barnabas split company. Many, many years later, when Paul is in prison, he writes, "Bring Mark to me. He is useful." Here's the message I want you to get about Mark. The truth is, most of us are probably more like Mark. We know what we're supposed to do. We do it. But somewhere along the line, we don't finish. We don't finish well. We go back to doing whatever it was we were doing, and we leave. And in the process of leaving, we leave others the responsibility to finish what we started. That happens a lot in church. Some of you have finished what others have started. Some of you left others to finish what you started. But you see, there was still hope. Now the problem with Paul was Paul didn't have a lot of confidence in John Mark. Now he ends that way, but he didn't that way. The truth is, most of us are like Paul probably. We have a hard time believing or trusting someone who leaves us finishing their jobs and responsibility. I don't like that, and I can tell you that right now. I want someone who's going to finish a task. I don't want to have to finish everybody's job. But you know what? Our God is a God of incredible grace. And if I don't get it right the first time, second time, even maybe 100 times, God can change me to be a finisher like He did Mark. He can do that for you. Love you, Stewart's Chapel.